Everybody, I haven't done a video like this in a long time, and of course the garage has been hit and miss lately. We've been down at the property and whatnot, building the new garage, but I haven't done a video like this in a long time, and I don't really take great pleasure in it, actually. But someone needed to say something, and there's a few of us out there who are pushing back, not in a disagreeable way, with some things that have been going on with Harley Davidson. And my perspective is in general agreement with a lot of the critics. Matter of fact, I pretty much agree with what they're saying about DEI being in our companies. 100%. Absolutely, I agree with them. But I'm a restorationist and a mechanic on the side who takes pride in preserving old cars and motorcycles. I did my own. I preserved my own motorcycle. I preserved my own 1980 Ford F350. And I do that to, in part, in my small way, remind people, and especially our youth, of the greatness and the beauty that we once made in this country. These things need to be preserved because it will stand as a reminder of what is possible and distinctive, not to mention better built than the crap we see coming out of our automakers today. The same decline is afflicting motorcycles, though it is to a lesser extent. The reason I wear the logo here on my hat today, if you don't know, it's from the early days of Harley Davidson race team. It has nothing to do with the modern corporate culture that is wrecking the motorcycle brand Harley Davidson today. And so I wear it, and I wear it unapologetically. Now, some people want to now engage in rage baiting and dishonest reporting to make a justified political point, as I noted earlier, about DEI at Harley Davidson, but also other companies like John Deere, Tractor Supply. There's many others. But these are these so-called victories that I see people proclaiming that they've made for themselves against these companies are not really all that evident. And I hope to demonstrate a little bit of that today, and also how complicated this thing is. DEI is not all that complicated, but getting companies to change, I'll explain why that is complicated. This video then explains why the current outrage is more or less lacking, and at worst it's dishonest. Because it doesn't really capture the full gravity of what's happening on the ground. And it's ignoring a lot of difficulty that we all face in this current corporate culture that really we're afflicted by. So I think we need to go and make Harley great again. I don't think Harley needs to be burnt down. A lot of people, the famous one that I'm going to be speaking of, really just wants to burn the whole company down. And I think it would be irresponsible to do that. I think we should take it over. Let's see how we're going to do it.
You're back. What? What is it?
This machine. I can't explain. It's like, this is it. And our next version.
Oh, I'm sorry, our? No, you must mean Bill and I, because I don't see why we would.
Forget about trams, cars, trains. This is like nothing else. I'm still shaking. I rode it until it ran dry. Twice.
How'd it go?
It didn't. I missed it.
No.
Yep. My parents say that's what I get for wasting my time with this.
You built something out of nothing. Do you know how rare that is?
It's rare as going to college, getting a career, taking care of my family.
Can this go faster?
For what? No, it'll be too loud, too dangerous. Nobody's gonna want to buy that.
People will want it, trust me.
Can't make this one faster, but if we had money, sure, yeah, we definitely could.
$175. That's all I got.
We don't need all you got.
Railroad and their bank got the rest. They allowed me to sell for 15 cents an acre. If I'm gonna put my money into this, it needs to be real.
What's it needs to be real?
Others are already doing this, so we gotta be different. Ours needs to be bigger, stronger, faster. And we built it tough. I want ours to go anywhere.
It goes anywhere.
It's a tall order, Walter.
What do we have to lose?
Over a year ago, some excellent people in motorcycle culture exposed Harley Davidson for going woke. Vet Biker not only did an expose on Budweiser and their affiliate partnership with the motorcycle company, but he also vetted every board member of the company. Sos the Ghost at Demon's Row followed up on these revelations with his own videos on the same topic. Both of these creators were detailed and rational in their assessment of the woke corporate culture afflicting motorcycle culture in general, but in particular Harley Davidson. I consider them trustworthy representatives of a long tradition of freedom-loving motorcyclists. Then came along Robby Starbuck, who thought he was the one to expose Harley for going woke. As Sos the Ghost noted,
a lot of people have been asking me in the comments, why am I not addressing the situation with Harley Davidson going woke? And it's simple. I did 2 videos last year, maybe 3, talking about their affiliation with BlackRock. This is old news. Harley Davidson didn't go woke. They've been woke. And I don't support anything they do. I had people reach out to me from the company saying that I was on the table talking about doing sponsorships. I don't need nobody's money. I make my own money. I don't have to kiss the feet of any large corporation to get money. I don't know what you think. I'm not telling anybody what to think. Me personally, I no longer will support them.
They have not gone woke. They have been woke. When many, me included, tried to point out to Robby Starbuck as a friendly political ally that Vet Biker and Sos the Ghost had more reliable information, he not only ignored these entreaties, he blocked anyone who offered a more complete and factual analysis of the situation. Then Starbuck started to make claims that he, and he alone, was responsible for not only exposing Harley Davidson, but he was also responsible for their stock decline after he exposed them. There are 2 problems with grandiose statements like this from Starbuck. First, it is difficult to tell cause and effect in the stock market. In the period of the decline that Starbuck claimed he was responsible for, the entire market was in a downturn based on bad policies, job numbers, inflation, etc., caused by the ruling class in Washington, D.C. In a day or 2, the stock market for Harley Davidson bounced back, and they have since gained back everything and more Starbuck claimed he took from them. The most troubling aspect of Starbuck's rage baiting is that he has been celebrating the destruction of Harley Davidson bikes and the removal of the badge and shield. His actions do not speak of someone who wants to return the company to greatness, but as someone who wants to literally destroy it. When someone pointed to Starbuck that there is a large custom Harley market out there, and many of those in that market have always removed their Harley Davidson emblems when doing their custom paint jobs and etc., he blocked them. If Starbuck really knew anything about Harley Davidson motorcycle culture, he would know that this has been a practice for decades, but he didn't care. Starbuck then claimed that Harley Davidson was building a plant in Thailand. All of that's true. And that this represented a move away from American-made to a foreign-owned built company. The actual reality is that Harley has for decades imported some parts from foreign countries on their motorcycles. This includes electrical parts, bearings, assorted engine parts, not to mention tires and drivetrain parts. Starbuck would know this if he was, an actual Harley rider and worked with his hands on Harleys. It is clear he doesn't. When I restored my Harley, I bought a new ignition switch. The original switch that I took off my original 1988 Harley Davidson was made in Japan. It was an excellent ignition and of high quality. It lasted several decades. But I replaced it with an OEM original, also made in Japan. You cannot find one American-made bike or car with parts completely made in America. To suggest you can is a fabrication of the truth. Starbuck then went on a rant claiming that Elon Musk should start a competitive product to end the product line of Harley Davidson's Livewire. He noted that Elon's electric bike would succeed and put Zeitz and his Livewire, which is Jochen Zeitz, the CEO of Harley Davidson's little baby, out of business. However, once again, if Starbuck knew anything about the base of Harley Davidson, or even knew what was going on at Harley Davidson corporate, he would already know that the Livewire is dead. Nobody wanted it, and that's why it was discontinued. It was a monumental flop for Harley. Further, if Starbuck knew anything about Harley Davidson culture, he would know that even if Elon made an electric bike, it would not sell, and it certainly would not sell to the base of Harley Davidson customers. His ignorance of motorcycle culture is pretty evident in that he has no clue what the rider loves to feel on the road. They love to feel the road itself. They love to hear the sound of a combustion engine that has been a staple of the Harley mystique for over 100 years. The combustion engine is far more compatible with the human form and human nature. It is synonymous with human freedom and human liberty, which I'll say a little more at the end of this video. Finally, Starbuck began to literally pimp himself out to Harley riders to buy Indian motorcycles. He claimed that he was responsible for Indian removing their own DEI woke policies from the company website. This is demonstrably not true. Polaris owns Indian as its subsidiary. If you look at the Polaris website, they have clearly maintained their DEI commitment. Starbuck then claimed that Indian was a completely USA-made company. This is a factual lie. As some noted to him, Indian not only has several parts made in Asia on its new bikes, but has for years had a plant in, wait for this one, Thailand. It is rather dishonest to say that one company is not American for having a plant in Thailand, while giving another company a pass despite that they too have a plant in Thailand. And in this case, Indian has had their Thailand plant for much longer than Harley Davidson. It's already functional. To make matters worse, Starbuck complained about Harley's relationship with various woke organizations that include, but are not limited to, dedicated sex changes of children. Harley has given money to many of these weird demonic groups, and so on that, there's really, how can anyone disagree? But Starbuck ignored the fact that Indian does the same things, because most in its particular direct relationship with Jack Daniels supports Drag Queen Story Hour, which also means, by extension, if we're using the Robby Starbuck example, they also support the chopping up of your child's sex organs. When all of this was pointed out to Starbuck, you guessed it, you got blocked. All of Starbuck's fake news does no good for the country, and I would say does no good for MAGA. Misleading readers and passing it off as reliable information is dishonest. I don't want this video to be completely about the dishonesty of Robby Starbuck. There is something greater going on in this country than DEI being in woke corporations. Woke corporations are bad, but in fact, DEI is an outgrowth of a greater sickness plaguing our government and our markets. As Sos noted, decrying about DEI at Harley Davidson misses the larger point that in our country, it is in distress, and that should be our main focus.
I ride a Harley Davidson, but my loyalty is to this country. Have at it.
Making America great again will resolve a lot of this DEI crap, but it's going to take work. At least we'll have a chance. In the meantime, there has to be a better way. But we cannot find a better way if we lie about our achievements and how difficult a job we have ahead of us. This is why Starbuck's burn it all down strategy will not work, and I, in particular, stand against it. Not just because he reports the news as if he's a right-wing version of MSNBC. It's because in order to be great again, we have to rebuild. We believe in the truth. I believe in the truth. Out of the truth, we can at least create a more reliable counteroffensive to combat the evil that comes from ESG, of which DEI is an outgrowth. In Tractor Supply's apparent withdrawal from DEI that Starbuck claimed he was responsible for, it is yet to be seen. All we have, if you think about it, all we really have is the company's statement that they will not participate anymore in DEI. But like Indian, we have no confirmation that this is in fact the truth. That is, both at Tractor Supply and Indian, we don't know that they're just not removing the stuff from the website and saying they're going to remove it. People need to see things are actually done. However, as it pertains to Indian, we still do know that Polaris, the company that owns them, still practices DEI. ESG is a corporate aim to abide by all sorts of leftist political propaganda and societal changes that benefits no one and actually harms the company. It's not about maximizing profits or even responding to customer desires. As you can see, ESG engages in the promotion of the climate change hoax, the elimination of the combustion engine, and of course, diversity and inclusion. It thus supports to teach our kids sexuality. And of course, Drag Queen Story Hour is a biggie. DEI, as a part of ESG, promotes the hiring of, literally, inferior talent over meritorious talent. It denounces whiteness. It's hostile to whites in the workplace. It makes gender matrix for hiring practices. If you're trans or whatever, you get an edge because of your sexual preferences, how you like to dress, and who you want to bed. So how did all this get into our corporations? It sounds kind of nutty, like it shouldn't even be a part of it. Well, in part through big investment hedge fund companies like BlackRock and Vanguard. Both of these companies have heavy investments in companies like Harley Davidson, Tractor Supply, and John Deere. It goes something like this. If you're a publicly traded company, you buy millions of shares of that company, you have a significant control over not only influencing who becomes a member of their board because you have shares that you vote with, but also you get to choose the CEO. In the case of Vanguard and BlackRock, they have about 20% of all the owned shares in the company. Fidelity also owns millions of shares in Harley Davidson, and they also have an ESG focus. Adding them makes it 36% of Harley Davidson owned by ESG investments. Beutel, Goodman and Company, a Canadian company, by the way, Boston Partners, and many others all have ESG requirements in their company, and they own stock in Harley. If you add all of these companies up, they control over 60% of Harley Davidson right now. Are you starting to get the picture? There's no easy way to rid companies like Harley Davidson of DEI as long as investment companies are in control of Harley Davidson. You might say, well, that's not true. What about Budweiser? They have not covered from their little misstep with Dylan Mulvaney. It's true. Budweiser has still had market share decline. They've never recovered. But as it pertains to Harley Davidson, the circumstances are way different. Let me explain it. Budweiser was an easy boycott because the customers could easily find a similar brand that was not Bud to consume. There's a plethora of competition to Budweiser. Customers could easily find a similar product that wasn't Bud and that they could still enjoy. So this is why at Sturgis 2023, people could easily boycott Budweiser, which they did. The tent was fairly empty. There were numerous brands to choose from that were comparable to Bud and just as good. But this is not the case with Harley. Indian, though a great motorcycle brand, is nowhere near competing with Harley. And by the way, they're not going to in the near future. At least, certainly, in the American market. And in the world market, Harley's the only game in town. Just ask the Who. Because there is no competition for Harley-style bikes, in America at least. There is no possibility for Harley Davidson boycotts to work. While Polaris has made a nice little bike, and believe me, I think the Scout, for example, is a fabulous little motorcycle, it is still not a Harley-sounding, Harley-riding, classic bike. And sure, some people will go buy Indians, and more power to you. I totally support it. I think Indian is a good-looking bike. And from all reports, they're very reliable. But they will still be buying from a woke company that imports many of its parts from abroad and from Asia, just like Harley Davidson. And that's right. Once again, guess who has major stakeholdings in Polaris? You guessed it. The same hedge funds I mentioned that own Harley Davidson and John Deere. Now, why would Starbuck cover up all these facts? I submit it's just my opinion. I don't know. But it seems to me that he does so because it limits his ability to get clicks, and it will call into question his effectiveness as an influencer. If you can't deliver, you aren't reliable. And Starbuck wants to give the impression that he can deliver. The problem is he's not. Our problems, though, are greater than these hedge funds and individual companies and dishonest media influencers. We have a societal problem. Burning down what made America great will not solve our problems. Returning America to greatness will, but we have to be honest about where we are and where we are going. This channel has always believed in shop glass as soulcraft. That is, working with your hands, doing things for yourself, not only honors you as a human being, but develops skills necessary to live this life, especially in these times when such skills and talents are needed more than ever. And we need to pass these talents on to our sons, our grandchildren. Only then will they know how to accomplish things for themselves, be more self-sufficient, and provide for their families in the future. You learn more skills, life skills, doing skills, by doing things for yourself. And what better way to do that than by working on your own cars and your own motorcycles while we can still work on them? But that's not all. We have also said on this channel, and I've maintained, when someone preserves the past, whether in motorcycles or vehicles, you preserve our country's memory of what was, but more importantly, what could be again. When you see a classic car driving down the road, I bet you pause, you look at it, and you likely say, they don't make them like they used to. That statement in and of itself is an indictment of our modern world. We now make inferior things. The things that are made and sold to us in this country make promises that they never live up to. We have so over-engineered ugliness in our auto markets, for example, that we can't even afford the repair job necessary to keep them on the road. New cars are not reliable, and they're very expensive to repair. Older cars, reliable if you maintain them, but they're easy to repair. And you can do it yourself. We should be encouraging such talented behavior. People who can do for themselves fix their own cars in their backyards or their garages. But think about it. What would you rather own? A new vehicle or something reliable that you can still work on yourself in your garage and maybe even turn it into something beautiful that you want to be in? No one says anymore, hey, let's just go for a drive. Why? Because our cars are ugly and they're not beautiful and they don't complement us as human beings. In some way, deep down, you feel it. You see it. Something has been taken from us. We have lost something that was once great. The accomplishment of rebuilding what was once great preserves beauty, and it complements our human drive to create. But as it pertains to Harley Davidson, are you, like some people are stating, going to destroy your Harley Davidson knucklehead because a company, the same company, 75 years later, decided it would be a good idea to go woke? Or would you rather return that company to its proper footing? If you have a son, grandchildren, take them to your shop as you restore your old Harley, your F-head, your knuckle, your pan, your shovel, or your Evo, like I did. Teach them a skill that will never leave them, and in the process, you will pass on what beauty of man-made and repaired motorcycles look like. It will do them good. It will be good for their soul. What you can do, that which is in your control, immediately, today, is save those old things that are being tossed away. Preserve them for your children to honor and admire. That in itself is the most unwoke thing you can do until maybe even you are able to have a hand in removing a woke board from a rudderless company by voting your small shares with millions of others to return the Harleys and the Davidsons to the greatness they richly deserve.
Savage. My cousin served out in Afghanistan and now he's back living with me. He can't afford good health care, then he sees illegals get it all for free. I thank the Lord I've got a dang good job and an extra beat-up truck that he can drive around the farm and try to make a couple extra bucks. Some want it all for free. That don't sit well with me. I pledge allegiance to this flag. It's part of who I am. I don't kneel for the anthem, never have and never will. The only thing that my ancestors ever gave to me was an ass-kicking, patriotic, good mentality. Some folks just don't see how damn blessed they would be if they had it. Here's to the American savage. I'd like to defund welfare and deputize 10 million more today. You want a civil war, you bout to get one, 'cause it's time to drop dead weight. Just give me one hard worker, I don't give a damn what color that he is. We come from different places, I just wanna know, do you have any grit? Some want it all for free. That don't sit well with me. I pledge allegiance to this flag. It's part of who I am. I don't kneel for the anthem, never have and never will. The only thing that my ancestors ever gave to me was an ass-kicking, patriotic, good mentality. Some folks just don't see how damn blessed they would be if they had it. Here's to the American savage. If evil is knocking outside of the gate, I say let 'em in, lock and load, and we wait. If evil is knocking outside of the gate, I say let 'em in, lock and load, and we wait. I pledge allegiance
thought
to this
that
flag. It's
the
part
adjuster
of who
nut,
I am.
the lock nut, fell off and the adjuster nut moved out. That is obviously not the case. Watch. My whole clutch is moved off the shaft. This is going to be a big one.
If they had it, here's to the American savage.